That's Ruby. Hi, Ruby. Can you hear us? Okay, so we'll give it a few minutes and give it a few minutes before we start. So we'll just wait a couple of more minutes and we'll start. Hi everyone and welcome to tonight's podcast. We're going to be talking hair removal. It's still a good business. We're talking about what to look for, and then we're going to talk about how you can, with the right system, you can expand the applications. And I'm joined by the wonderful Chantal.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us this evening.
So I've known you for quite a long time now.
Longer than we care to admit. We don't want to let everyone know our age.
Yeah.
Getting on a bit, Kev.
We'll hopefully be able to give you some good information, and then if there are any questions, we've had some questions which were pre-sent already. So by all means, put questions in the chat, and we'll try and answer them all at the end. So let me just tell you a little bit. Those who don't know me, I would say, why don't you know me? You should be following me online. I've got now over 40 years experience in the industry. My background is laser technologies and applications. My background is laser engineering. I was fortunate to work with the original team and invented laser hair removal, and the industry's been really kind to me. I've lectured all over the world. I've worked with numerous leading brands, and I wear a couple of different hats. I'm the Chief Technical Officer for Winnie Set Academy. I'm the Technical Director of an online training company, which is named after me. Kevin Williams is an expert. I also lectured on the facial aesthetics program at Bolton University. And now I'm involved with helping Lutronic in the UK. So that's a little bit about me. And I'll been great working with to have you here tonight. Do you want to just
Kevin,
tell you a little bit about your background?
Asking me to come this evening and talk about what I do in my clinic every day. So I've been in the industry, getting on now as well. So I think actually it's around about 26 or 27 years. So, and a long time using devices, probably spanning back almost 20 years. So I just enjoy devices. I enjoy technology, and I'm a bit of a laser geek, as Kevin knows. So I love to share my knowledge.
Well, and hopefully this will be the a first of many podcasts. But I know that what's great is working with you is that we get to explore some great ideas together and how we can do,
We do.
which people think we're crazy when we think, oh, if we mix this with this, we'll get
We
a better
do indeed,
result.
yes. And we're going to expand on that in the
Yeah.
next few weeks and months.
That allows us to expand applications and get better clinical results.
And it helps you build your business.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll start by perhaps a little introduction and tell you a little bit about those who don't know Lutronic. Then we are grateful that they sponsoring tonight's event. They're very much an innovative company. They've been innovating since 1997, and they are one of the leading companies in the world. They've now merged with Cynosure, which makes them the biggest laser company in the world, or one of the biggest laser companies. They manufacture these systems in Korea and have offices all over the world. And one of the great things about them is that normally companies have one or two star products, but when you look at the product range from Lutronic, they're all star products. They're all great products that deliver great results with great reliability, which is important. Okay. So one of the things, the first thing to do is when you are looking at introducing a hair removal system is to understand your marketplace and your client demographic. I would say that that's important.
Absolutely, yeah.
Who are the company behind the product? Who are the company going to be there supporting you? I mean, how do you choose the right product? And then what else can the technology offer? I hope you're not seeing my WhatsApp message, but I keep getting WhatsApp messages about my bowling group coming up, so hopefully you can't see them. Okay. So, when you look at the overview of the marketplace, without question, hair removal is a huge marketplace. And the aesthetic marketplace has grown considerably, but hair removal is still one of the biggest markets. And when we started off years ago, people would have, I can remember the early days where we'd have very few people that would want to come in for laser hair removal. Now it's standard that everybody wants hair removal, and the problem has been is that it's now become a commodity, and it's just become harder to make money out of it. So we'll explore that, how you can change it around.
That's definitely my story, isn't it, to share with you, actually?
Yeah.
How we change devices and make more money per service.
So understand your marketplace, and what is your demographics and what are your clients looking for? If you're in an area with predominantly darker skin types, then you need to make sure that you have equipment that can successfully treat them without the risk of creating side effects. So you need to understand what are your demographics, what are your skin type, and to make sure that you can offer the right solution for them. Have you got anything to add?
And also, can you treat through the seasons? Because some devices you're a little bit more limited to treating through the season. Though we don't really encourage those that are in the sun, but it is a big part of me and my business that I was having to turn away a lot more clients than when I changed devices to Clarity 2.
Perfect. And I think we could touch on that a bit later. I think it'd be good. It's a good thing for you to touch on that a little bit later. So, do you need a solution for all skin types? Okay. So one of the other questions is, who are the company behind the product? So it's important when you buy it. They often say one of the quickest ways to get rid of a salesman is buy some equipment. Okay, so what you're left with is the company behind the product. So you need to ask some key questions. Where's the system manufactured? Is it from a reputable supplier that are there a long time to support you? One of the things in this industry is that, and I've attended many conferences where people will say, oh yeah, my machine is made in the UK or made in Germany. And when you actually dig down into it, it's actually not. It's imported, and they put a sticker on to say it's made in the UK or in Germany. And there's a couple of companies I know for the fact to do that in the UK. So one of the ways you can do is say, well, could you give me the certificate of origin? Where did the machine come originally? You need to know where it's manufactured. How long has it been in the marketplace? Is it relatively untested? Is it brand new? Are there people you can talk to? Can you speak to someone who's using it to find out a little bit about the reliability of the product? About are the treatments effective? Are you going to get the right type of result? There's no current sort of regulation in the UK when you import some equipment, okay, when you start selling equipment in the UK. So I often rely on the American standards. So is FDA, is it FDA approved? FDA approval is only relevant if, relevant in the US. It's not a regulation, it's not a requirement in the UK. But to get FDA approval to sell a bit of equipment in the US, you have to prove that it's safe and effective. Okay, so if someone's got an FDA approval, you can be pretty sure it's effective and safe. So I often look for equipment that's FDA approved. What is the warranty? How much is the warranty going to cost? What do they offer as part of the warranty? Can you extend the warranty? These are all important questions. Can I buy the machine and buy it, say, with a 5-year inclusive warranty package? That becomes important, and people often forget about the running cost. And as I covered earlier, who's using the device? It's really important to find out, can I speak to somebody else using the device? And I would, if you're going for, sometimes when you have a demonstration equipment, it's actually much easier to ask the company, say, well, can you take me to someone else to show me the equipment? Someone who's using it day in, day out.
That's why I'm here on your webinar, I think, this evening, just to give a bit more insight from that side of things.
Ask about the service support, about the clinical support and the marketing support. Are you just going to get 1 day's training, or do they include ongoing training? Do they include advanced training for you? If you get a problem, how quickly can it be fixed? Do the company have their own engineers, or they're using a third-party company? Okay, and then no one ever talks about running costs. It's really important to understand the running cost. If it's an IPL, then how quickly does the head run out? Is it a diode? How much does it cost to replace that diode head? And asking about these ongoing running costs. Okay. And then, you've all probably come across this, and I'm sure you have.
Yeah, this makes me laugh when you showed me this slide.
Choosing the right equipment.
Heard it all before.
Yeah, my machine's the best. It's got an XYZ feature, So when did you last year? Don't buy my machine because brand X is much better. No one's ever going to tell you that don't buy my machine because somebody else's is better. Okay, so it's very difficult, to make that decision. So how do you choose? And we were running a live course here today, and someone said, "Well, I buy if I like the sales rep," and people do buy from people. But I would say it's difficult to make these decisions. If what you need to do is educate yourself. If you inform yourself, you'll make a much better decision. So educate yourself to understand what you're looking for, to give you the knowledge to make a good decision. I don't know if you got anything to add.
I think it is a bit of a minefield, isn't it? Absolutely. I think hence why webinars like this are worth when you see a company that you go, oh, I know who that is. This is how I do it sometimes. I just like to always be constantly looking at the market, even though I have a room full of kit and some of the best kit that I consider I can actually have access to. I'm constantly checking in with all the big name companies and seeing what's going on, what's happening. Go to trade shows, just keep staying informed and attending training. Even if you don't have the device, you can come aboard with someone like yourself, Kevin, can't they, and do core of knowledge and get the basic information before they even look at investing.
I think for sure, if you want to really understand lasers and IPL, you need to attend a core of knowledge. So, why is education important? Well, manufacturing training is a legal requirement. You have to have manufacturer's training. So it's important that that manufacturer gives you good training. Is it ongoing? You need to find out, okay? I'm a fan of accredited training because that's what our company does. But accredited training gives you the power to use all types of systems, and will teach you different techniques and to be able to think for yourself. So we were on the course today encouraging people, don't think about the script from the manufacturer. You can only do this or this or this. You need to understand the parameters so you can make decisions for yourself. And once you understand the parameters you need to use, and whether the pulse duration, energy, spot sizes, once you understand all that, you'll make much better decisions for your client. And as Chantal just said, is make sure you attend workshops and seminars. You can turn up and learn advanced techniques from industry experts. I know that we have a number of seminars coming up, and there's a great one coming up now in a few weeks, which is, it's a skin rejuvenation one, but it's talking about combination therapy. So try and attend these sort of things.
You can never know enough, can you?
No,
and practitioners share experiences and ideas, and
And good education allows you to make an informed decision. Okay, so if you educate yourself, you'll make a much better decision. Okay, so we're going to take a little, this is not a core of knowledge lecture today, but we're going to take a little look at lasers and like technology and do a little bit of a background. Okay, so, which technology should you choose? Different wavelengths interact different with the tissue. So different wavelengths, you can use different wavelengths to treat different conditions. So if you need an understanding of the wavelengths and how they interact with the tissue. And so different wavelengths you would use for different lasers for different applications. What I would encourage you all to do, and you can go onto my website to do this, you can download the theory of selective photothermolysis. He was a great scientist, Dr. Rox Anderson, who came up with the theory of selective photothermolysis. And basically what he said, if we get the parameters right, we can maximize the clinical effect and minimize the risk of side effect. So he came up with this theory. Photothermolysis is Greek. Photo means light, thermo means heat, lysis means destruction. So if we're looking at hair removal, we need the light to be absorbed in the melanin and root of the hair so that we can reach 75 degrees and transfer it to the germ cells to stop the hair growing. So when you translate it, it means using light to selectively heat an object, resulting in its destruction while preserving the surrounding tissue. Now, we teach this in great detail in our Core of Knowledge course, and I would encourage everyone to come on a Core of Knowledge course. We are fortunate that here at Lutronic, we're able to offer the courses. You can go online, but it's much better to turn up live, which we've been doing today, and turn up live to listen to one of the courses, and it's a very reasonable cost of, I think it's £33. And what it'll teach you, the Core of Knowledge will teach you about wavelengths and absorption, which wavelengths you should use for different applications. It'll teach you about depth of penetration so that when you look at, say, superficial capillary compared to a deeper capillary, you can choose the right wavelength. It'll teach you about spot size. It'll teach you about the power of pulse durations, okay? And above all, it'll teach you, on our particular course, we covered a section on applications where we look at all the different applications and we do an overview of all the lasers or IPL you can use for that application. So I would encourage you to come on a Core of Knowledge. I know you've attended mine in the past.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always good to refresh as well, or send your staff if you're a salon manager and you kind of get bogged down by the day to day. If as an owner with employees, I actively encourage my team to update as often as I do. You can forget things as well. Refresh it.
Okay. Computer. Okay. So again, we talked about what do you want to offer. So I had somebody earlier on the course, and they were saying, okay, well, I'm thinking of getting, looking at the Lutronic Ultra machine, and we're probably going to add the Clarity too. And I think that's because you've done a really good job of talking to them today.
Yeah, that's my favorite combination.
But when I speak to them, I say, well, are you actually going to do hair removal? They say no. I say, well, okay, well, what you should do is look at the Derma V, which is a more vascular device. So it's really important you understand what you want to offer. And so if hair removal is your primary business, buy a machine that's absolutely outstanding at hair removal. Okay? People make the mistake of saying, well, if I buy this, I can do a little bit of everything. But if hair removal is 70 or 80% of your business, you need something that's pretty efficient these days to be competitive and to get a return on investment on hair removal. So it's really important to understand your market. You know, if you're, I had someone the other day who said, well, if I get this machine, I can do a bit of tattoo removal. I say, well, so how much of your business is tattoo removal? Well, we don't really do tattoo removal. So why is it even coming up in the argument? You need to have, if you've got a strong, and in some areas in some parts of the country, especially among the aging community, the hair removal is a huge business. So you need something that's going to be efficient at it. So understand what you want to offer to begin. Okay. Which device should you purchase? Should you purchase an IPL? Should you purchase a diode, or should you purchase a laser? You need to be able to, have a look at and decide what you want to be able to purchase. Okay. So I'm going to start with IPL, and let's break a little myth here. I hear people talking about IPL, BBL, APL, and I heard another one the other way, FPL. So you've got intense pulse light, broadband light, advanced pulse light, fluorescent pulse light. Okay, they're all the same. They're all IPL systems. Okay, and they're not the same as a laser. I'm a fan of IPL. I think IPLs have got, IPL, we and you have used them for years.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think there's some great applications in skin rejuvenation.
And some great systems on the market that have been around a long time, tried and tested.
But it probably wouldn't be my first choice for
hair removal.
I think you can do other things because they're going to be slower. They've got higher consumable costs. Okay, so it's not really a great return on investment, when you're looking at hair removal. But they've got some great applications. So diode lasers were going to change the industry. And when you look at things like telecommunications and scientific lasers, they've absolutely changed the industry. Okay. The problem is that we have a weird noise in the background, don't we? Okay. In our, I don't know if you can
It's a
come
drilling.
across, like someone's drilling somewhere.
Or
Okay.
bee.
Yeah.
A very loud bee.
Another bee. So when you look at diode lasers, they were going to change the industry, and a lot of people have diode lasers, and a lot of people jumped and bought diode lasers without really understanding them. So a traditional laser, without boring you with the physics, amplifies photons of light. And if you look at a laser cavity, it's about the size of a shoebox. And with if Chantal, if you're using the Alexandric laser, you can choose a 0.5 millisecond pulse at really high energy, 1 millisecond to treat really fine light hair. Okay. And maybe a 3 milliseconds if you're doing fine hair at high energy. Now, you can do that with a traditional laser, but a diode laser is a low energy device. So when you're using a low energy device, then you haven't got enough energy in a short enough pulse duration to target things like really fine hair. So diode lasers, I think they're great for things like coarse hair and medium hair, but I'm yet personally to come across a diode laser that actually works on fine hair. I don't know if you would agree.
I think back in the day, of course, when you were consulting for me, I'm talking a good few years ago, that's the reason why we didn't pursue the diode laser in my clinic, because I couldn't treat the fine hair. And most of my hair work, facial hair removal at the time, was facial.
Yeah. So
it just wasn't right for me, but it might be right for someone else's clinic. But at the time, so there's a lot to consider, isn't there, when you start really looking at your technologies? Don't just assume one just because the salespeople tell you it'll be okay. Doesn't mean it will.
Well, and when you hear people say, "Oh, look,"
that's the scientist, not the salesperson.
I find this one a bit irritating. People say, "Oh yeah, but I like using my diode. This can apply to other lasers, not just a diode, because it's completely pain-free." Well, if you want it to work, you have to heat the follicles up to 75 degrees. So we have to heat up the follicle to 75 degrees. So if you're heating up the follicle to 75 degrees,
you're going to feel something, can't you?
Yeah, you have to feel something. There is no such thing as pain-free.
No, there isn't. No, I can concur with that. Yeah.
And I think there's pain-free laser waxing.
Yeah, then you're not actually removing any hair permanently.
You should be looking at removing
a dull ache. It should ache a little. You should feel it in the follicle almost.
Yeah, and you should be looking at removing hair within, telling the patient 8 to 10 sessions. No, it should only take you around 6.
Or less.
Or less. I know you're getting better results.
We're getting less.
What's exciting is working with you is whenever I show results, you've always got results that are better.
I've got to tell you this. Let me just show you.
So, okay. So I know I get people just think I have a campaign against diode lasers. It's not the case. I'm just thinking from a scientific point of view.
We're naming no names here tonight.
Diode lasers are not true lasers, okay? They have the property of producing a single wavelength, but they're not like a coherent collimated beam like a traditional laser system. And a diode laser amplifies electrons rather than photons. And when you amplify electrons, you got this much lower energy source, which means that you can't deliver high enough energies over a short enough pulse duration for it to be effective. And there's a simple formula. If anyone wants to work this formula out, they can. But when we look at energy, and the energy is the wattage multiplied by the pulse duration divided by the area. So those who are using an Alexandric laser, depending on the spot size, would probably agree that to do a fine hair, you need a 3 millisecond pulse, or less, okay? And you need about 20 joules per centimeter squared, okay? So I can change that formula around, okay? So if I take the world's leading diode laser, which has got a spot size of 12 by 12, and it's 1600 watts, okay? Then I can say, work out my pulse duration, my time is my energy multiplied by my area divided by watts. So now my 20 times my 1.44 for 12 by 12 is 1.44 divided, and I've put the wattage up here to say 2100 watts, okay? When it's actually only 1600, okay? Then you get an 18 millisecond pulse duration. So to use a diode laser to achieve the best one available, to achieve 20 joules per centimeter squared, I need a pulse duration of 18 milliseconds. That's much longer than the thermal relaxation time of that hair. So scientifically, you can show why these are not going to work. So I think diode lasers have their place, but they tend to struggle on finer hair. Okay. And then you get these new ones, which are triple wavelength systems. They say, wow, well, if you get our diode laser, you've got 3 lasers in one. You get a 755 Alexandrite, you get an 828, and you get an Nd:YAG at 1060. Now, the first thing to say is that the 755 and 1060, this is not an Alexandrite laser, because you need an Alexandrite crystal to generate an Alexandrite beam. And this is not an Nd:YAG, because you need an Nd:YAG crystal. These are diode chips trying to replicate the wavelengths. Now, on paper, they sound fantastic. Your problem is that those who've been on my course, 755 will go to a certain depth, 828 will go a little bit deeper, and 1060 will go even deeper. So what you've got in a handpiece is 3 different chips. So you have a chip which is 755, one is 828, and one is 1060. So when you fire it, it delivers all 3 wavelengths. But all 3 wavelengths now are working at different depths, and a 1060 interacts with the hair follicle differently from 755 and 828, because these work very similar. So now what you've done, say, because I couldn't split 20, but if we call it 21 joules per centimeter squared, now you've got 7 joules at each wavelength. So for hair removal, you've got 14 joules working one way and 7 joules working slightly different. So now what you've done, you've taken a laser and turned it into more like working like an IPL. And I just don't know why you would do that. So these are completely, really these are sold on marketing rather than complete science. Have you ever used a triple?
I haven't. I've had demos years ago, but for that reason, I did kind of appreciate, even at the time, I was like, that doesn't seem to work for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've not actually used one of those in my practice.
Yeah. So when we look at how does hair removal work, it all works on the same theory. Some people say 65, some people say 75. We have to heat up the germ cells to 75 degrees to create the destruction that we're looking for. So what we're looking to do is destroy the germ cells by heating them up to 65 to 75 degrees. Okay, I would say more 75 than 65. Okay, and that gives us the result we're looking for. So we need the light to go in, be absorbed with the melanin. In the case of an Nd:YAG, is the melanin plus the blood supply feeding it, and create this heat in to destroy the germ cells. We can't target the germ cells directly because they're invisible. Okay, so wavelength's crucial, and as is pulse duration. So for fine hair, I mean, 3 to 10, for me, it's 1 to 3 milliseconds these days. I think modern machines now, you can get a 1 millisecond pulse with an Alexandrite. Medium hair, 10 to 20 milliseconds. Coarse hair, so my go-to settings are, if I go back, my go-to settings, I press the wrong button here. My go-to settings are 1 millisecond for light fine hair, 3 milliseconds for fine hair, probably 7 to 10 milliseconds for medium hair, and coarse hair, I always use 30 milliseconds. I don't know if you do something different.
Very similar, yeah. I do a lot of 1 millisecond actually with the Clarity 2, which we can talk about later, and that's definitely changed things a lot for me. Not a lot of systems go down to the 1 millisecond, do they? So make sure you check that out as well if you are investigating any devices.
So skin types 1 to 3, and sometimes on a light 4, I'd use the Alexandrite. But the Nd:YAG I would use. I like the Nd:YAG for coarse hair and all skin types. I think an Nd:YAG is great to be able to use. But then on darker skin type 4 to 6, for sure, I would use the Nd:YAG. Okay, IPLs I would only use on skin types 1 to 3. I would never personally use this, as I said, 4 with extreme caution. I've never used an IPL on skin type 5. I just wouldn't do it. Okay. Diode lasers deliver much longer pulse duration. So a diode laser has got this unique feature where you can fire. It's hard to get a normal laser to work for 400, 500, 600 milliseconds, but you can with a diode. So a diode laser, because of the longer pulse durations, you can use on all skin types. And, some of them are very good in medium and coarse hair. Some only work on coarse hair, okay? But as I said, I'm yet to find a diode laser that works, in my experience, on fine hair. I just don't see that. So normally you'd have a combination. Okay. So what's important when you do hair removal? Understanding the skin type, the number of treatments, you know, are you offering a laser hair removal service, or you offering a laser waxing service? I'm horrified when I see people that say, well, we do 20 to 30 treatments. That shouldn't be the case. Number of treatments, as we talked about, I always tell people 8 to 10, knowing it's only going to probably be 6, but your experience, you're getting it a bit quicker, like
Three
treatments,
treatments,
yeah,
and almost a full clearance.
yeah, perfect. And we'll touch on that a bit more at the end when we finish the presentation, when we're doing questions. But the other thing is reliability of technology. You need a system. You need a system where you can run it pretty much all day. This is a commodity now, hair removal. So you need a system that you can use it all day without the risk of it breaking down. And so reliability becomes important. And it's got to be easy to use. How easy and comfortable is it to use? The patient has to be comfortable. It's never going to be pain-free, but it's got to be comfortable. Okay? You need to understand about the consumable costs. As you get ahead, you're going to have to change every 10,000 pulses, and that's going to cost you a fortune. But the biggest thing of all these days, the most important thing is speed. Speed is the most important thing. You get a video here of the Clarity 2 in action. You can get it with an ICD cooler or a cold air. I would use it with cold hair, but we'll come to it in a minute, but it's got a tracking system that allows you to treat up to 22 millimeter spot at 4 pulses per second. We'll come on to that in a minute. So these are the important things. So which is best? In my opinion, you need a combination. I've used diode lasers combined with an IPL in the past, but my preferred option, if budget's not an issue, then for sure I would use an Alexandrite combined with an Nd:YAG. Okay. So what do we use in our training courses and why? Well, we use the Alexandrite Nd:YAG. We use the Clarity 2. It treats all skin types with excellent results. We can treat full legs in under 15 minutes. Okay, I don't know if you, I think 6 to 8 treatments of permanent hair reduction. It's got an intelligent tracking system, and it's not just hair removal, it's multiple application as well. I know you're going to touch at the end about your experience, and I got some questions, so we'll bring it at the end, okay? So the key advantage of electronic Clarity 2, it's got gold standard wavelengths. It's got a high energy. You've got a spot size up to 25 millimeter. It's incredibly fast. You've got multiple application. You've got this variable pulse durations on both wavelengths. You can use a 1 millisecond pulse for fine hair. It's got this intelligent tracking system. It's got advanced cooling. It's fast, safe, and effective. It's the fastest hair removal system on the marketplace. If you take the nearest competitor, this machine is 4 times faster. And you get reliability. Okay. I'm going to show you some of the features. And so one of the great features is you've got this tracking system here where you can, it's got a rolling system. It's got this AI technology that when you move the handpiece, it'll automatically fire. So it doesn't matter how slow or fast you go, the machine will put the pulses next to you. So what it does, it takes away the operator error. I think you just saw in the video earlier. This is using the ICD cooling. I personally prefer the cold air. I know you have
the cold air, yeah. Me too.
You can set the percentage of the overlap. Now, I'm not a fan of overlapping for hair removal. I just think that's nonsense to overlap, because when a beam hits a tissue, well, though it's a collimated beam, it still diverges under the tissue. So I'm not a fan of overlapping until you get this overlap. So
you've got an optional skin temperature sensor as well that you can switch on there, Kev. So again, if you feel like if the skin's building up too much, it automatically switches it off.
So again, that's another key feature. Okay. And I can show you any number of photographs, but this is someone following 3 sessions, 5 sessions. So I guess before we move on, then there is one question relevant for you as a practitioner. What have you found is the major benefit for your hair removal clients and clients?
Speed, without a doubt. So speed equals money in the bank, because we can turn around our clients so much quicker, considering that once we've fully consulted with our clients and we're on a regular say appointment, we can actually do a full leg, full bikini and underarms in around about 20 minutes. Like,
Wow.
that is no lie. Like, we've timed ourselves.
Yeah.
You can't use that laser as fast as it will fire, almost, you have to like slow it down.
Yeah, brilliant. And because I guess, because you got the intelligent tracking system.
Yeah, and you have
it
your
allows
sensor
you-
there on the skin
Yeah,
sensor, so you as a practitioner, you're as safe as you can be, as if you've done all your due diligence, you've patch tested, you understand your parameters, your skin types. You are very, very safe, and you can work all year round.
So I guess there's not many machines where you can monitor the temperature. So
No,
if it gets too hot,
it just shuts off.
It just shuts
beeps
off.
and shuts the heat off
Yeah.
straight away. So you then cool your area, and you can then reapply, because it hasn't built up too hot to cause an issue.
Perfect. Okay. So I guess it's the speed. I know we touched on the pulse duration, and if people are new to this, they perhaps wouldn't understand the power of the pulse duration.
Yeah, that was something that even I explored further once I got my hands on the level of kit that I then invested in.
I know some people shy away from treating the very fine light hair, but what is your experience?
We're getting full clearances now with the fine hairs, which was one of my reasons to not take a laser, say 8-10 years ago, even, when we were exploring options back then. So yeah, it simply delivers. Of course, you've got to make sure you're educated, though, haven't you? As you've said over and over, as you can't obviously explain enough. You just have to learn how to work with your pulse widths, how to work with the changes in the hair growth patterns. You can't just do a standard because that worked on session 1, 6 sessions in, be doing the same parameters. You have to really just understand how to get the best results as well.
I know we touched on it today, didn't we, at today's course, about one of the things that people fail to do with hair removal is understand that, as you get a successful treatment, the number of follicles come down.
And hair gets finer.
Yeah.
Therefore, you do have to reduce your pulse width.
And then increase your energy as well.
Increase your energy, yeah.
To say I'm treating a beard at 500 follicles per centimeter squared, so my 500 follicles multiplied by my energy gets me to temperature. But if that 500 now becomes 400, the same energy won't get you to the same temperature. So people make the mistake of make the mistake of not increasing energy, therefore they don't get as good result. Okay. Anything you want to add about hair removal?
I think I always said to you when we first talked about changing over, I said I just wanted to be competitive. We were up against some big chains that turn laser hair removal around really quickly, and we were losing clients. They're regular clients that would say, "Oh well, your full legs nearly an hour, I can get it done in." So that's what kind of like I got a bit of an ego, Kev, and I'm like, I can't do this. I can't be losing those clients, So I think that was one of the ways that made me change. But I think a lot of people, when they're running other devices, there is a point in your business when you go, I need to upgrade. That's another thing that we hadn't quite touched on, isn't it? We're not just, if you're not a beginner anymore. You know what you want, you know what you need, and you start searching out the best technologies. And I think that's what I've always tried to align with. I'm going to go where the best is. I'm going to find the best technology, and then I'm going to use my gut instinct for the rest of it. Yeah,
I think I guess besides later talking about the importance of speed there, but you're right. I think when you want to upgrade, you want
something that's going to deliver
better clinical results.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So if we look at some other applications then.
Well, of course, that was the added benefit for me as a clinician, as doing a lot of skin as well, was to be able to use it for both.
And then one of the great things is I've got this intelligent handpiece, which is 3 by 10 millimeter. I'll just myself there, okay, on the video. So what you've got this other handpiece, which is a 3 by 10, which allows you to use almost like a rectangle spot, which is unusual in a laser, which allows you to treat these little veins here.
Often in one shot as well.
Yeah, often in one shot. This is someone that had a venous lake treated. So now you can use it for things like a venous lake. So you got your vascular work, you got a venous lake. So this was using the NDI.
This is previous stuff that I'd had to turn away.
Yeah. I probably think I would use the biggest spot. So he's on 3. I'm not, maybe they worried about depth of penetration. Okay. You can do things like this. Yeah.
Oh gosh, yeah. We treat stuff like that every day. One or maybe 2 treatments at the most.
Okay.
The amount of results we're getting with legs now far exceeds anything we've ever done, actually.
Yeah. And this is another great application, is leg veins. Those who perhaps follow me on Instagram and on my YouTube channel, which we just started, but there's an amazing video where we show you with a clinic using Clarity 2 up in Scotland, where we treat in veins much bigger than this, and you just see them disappearing.
And the blue,
I think
the blue
it's
is a big
exciting.
challenge.
When you get a powerful Nd:YAG that can deliver high energy over a big spot size, treating veins is exciting.
Yeah. You don't feel like, oh, please let this work. Please let it work. You know it's going to work.
Yeah. So it's not exciting, okay? So you can get great results on leg veins. It's a great machine for pigmentation.
You can do a combination of the red and the pink and the red and the brown, the darker spots all in the same session. You can target them both.
And also then you've got this brilliant mode, which is where you can take an Nd:YAG, and if you've got enough power, you can deliver enough energy in a 300 microsecond pulse. And when you introduce a 300 microsecond pulse, then you can trick the body into producing collagen because you're tricking the microcapillaries, and as a result then the body will start stimulating collagen. On the Clarity 2, we call it IntelliToning. I know you do a lot of IntelliToning, I think we've got some of your photographs coming up, but this is someone who had 3 treatments. That's a brilliant skin tightening treatment.
It is.
That's using a completely it's not painful, you feel it, but it's not uncomfortable.
No, it's activating the collagen reproduction at around about 41, 42 degrees, and it is because the laser tells you.
I keep forgetting about that. I keep, perhaps I don't use it. I don't look at it like that.
Because you have been heating the tissue. So if you're used to using radio frequency or similar heat devices, you have to monitor your temperature. But the laser delivers very powerfully, very quickly, and you run over and you just gently build up your energy, and then it cuts off when it's hot.
So those who've done this sort of treatment, you're using on this particular, we use a 12 millimeter spot size.
It's much quicker. You're not there for hours and hours building up the energy.
And the 300 microsecond pulse, okay, and we're looking to raise the temperature, but it's got a temperature system built into it, so it monitors it for you.
And I would imagine to pass over that would take minutes to bring it up to temperature clinically.
Okay. You can obviously use Nd:YAGs for treating warts as well and verruca. There's some great clinical evidence treating warts and verruca. Okay. And then I can show you any number of results online. There's some incredible results on people have sent in on their Instagram.
They're so consistent, aren't they? All the results that you get in all the pictures, everything's consistent.
So whether it's fine hair,
it doesn't matter.
It's coarse hair,
he gets them all.
Can absolutely get them all, okay? And it's much more than that, because it's also, if you've got a good Nd:YAG and combination Nd:YAG and Alexander, you can also then use the Nd:YAG to get great results for treating vascular. But it's important you've got enough energy, and a lot of machines just don't have enough energy to do that. So things like leg veins, again, pigmentation, vascular conditions. Okay. And I can show you many more photographs. You can go online yourself. This is a great one here, and a lot of these are from the US, but you can see the pigmentation.
It's brilliant.
And then you can talk us through this one, because this is one of your clients. I didn't have time to upload all your photographs.
This is what we've done. There's not a lot of issues there, so we use the micromilli pulsing mainly, as you probably
so what you use is 300 microsecond pass over.
For a gentle rejuve, about 3 sessions.
3 sessions, okay.
With no downtime.
So you can see that the pigmentation is gone.
And all the tiny, just a little bit of vascular that if you zoomed in, you could see that. Not, it's us as practitioners, we tend to home in on that, but not everybody would see that, but I see that.
Yeah.
This was great. I mean, we treated vascular, we treated Seb-K just up on the lip, and we did about 4 sessions over time. We did it gently, but we picked up all of that pigmentation as well as gently cleaning up. And we had some bigger vessels as well to deal with, so we did it over stages. So we treated the bigger ones at first, got her back, then did the gentle rejuve and did a combination.
I can see the one you treated here.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. And if you can see on the lip, we've got a Seb K. If you actually touch the screen, there's just a very small area there, Seb K, on the lip that she didn't actually realise she had, and we were like, but look, we've got that for you as well. So that was an added bonus. And just the clarity in her skin and the tightening's there.
This one.
This was playing around with a little bit of combination. You've snuck that in.
This is one I knew you wanted to talk about. Tell me what your combination.
Because I'm meant to not talk about combination on this webinar, and I can't help it. So we have the Ultra, as you know, and it's like
tell us a
I'm
bit
the biggest fan of the Ultra, Kev, aren't I? So I wanted to
I know you wanted to talk about Ultra because it's probably your favourite.
Yes, it is.
Tell us a bit more about why would you combine them. And what is Ultra?
Ultra is a Phelium laser and it is a subablative laser, and it also is a transdermal delivery device, and singly one of the best ways to treat pigmentation that I've ever had my hands on. And it does it in a way that you can control the level of energy to control how aggressive your treatment is. So if you really want to do a gentle rejuve, you have the option to then turn up your energy and have something that's going to be just that little bit more aggressive without taking it too far either. So this was we had a little bit of a breakout here, and we decided to use, what energy did I do? I did 12 joules, which is kind of on the medium energies. I did run over with the micromillipulse with the NDAG.
Did you do the Ultra first?
Or? I did the Clarity 2 first with the micromillisecond pulse, just to pick up some of this redness and to settle down. When I get breakout, that's how I do it. I do stack my wavelengths, but because it's gentle and I run my cryo cooler as well, everything just stays calm.
So you did 10 to go deeper first, and then you do the Ultra.
Absolutely. Then we use the Ultra on top with the transamic acid ampule, which we can touch on about later, but that's what got me there in one session.
I mean, those who don't follow Chantal should absolutely follow you, because I know you do any mad ideas with that. I know you're happy to take them on board, and you come up with great
and I always stay safe, and we play around with stuff. But because I've been using lasers for so many years, I know where I can push and I know where I need to pull back. But layering anyway makes all the difference. Even if we were working with our Clarity 2, we will use our laser in a way that we'll tackle the red first, and then we'll do the pigmentation afterwards in the session. Different view. And again, you can see that Seb K is going beautifully. And all that lovely clearance. It's just lovely to be able to do that every day in the clinic.
You can see the veins up.
It's amazing. It is. It's a it's a privilege. This was interesting. So this was the cherry angio that I wasn't able to treat before. So I've treated several of those since I've installed my system, and we did a little bit of gentle rejuve. You see, there's a little bit more work to be done, and we'll follow up with her now. She's all healed, just to finish up that vascular area.
I wanted to go back to, thank you for that. We're going to go some questions. I just want to go back, to understand the return on investment. Because often someone will say, well, and this come up recently, I can buy, product X is £20,000 cheaper. And I often say, well, yeah, that's good, but you're not looking. And, I often say to people, when you look at equipment, don't look at the price of it, look at the return on investment, okay? So you need to understand the return on investment. So, how fast you can treat impacts your hourly revenue, especially if you're in a city and you're doing a hair removal, well, it's going to be price sensitive, it's going to be competitive, I guess. So you have to think about your return on investment. So, what else can you treat? Is it reliable? £20,000 for the machine extra on a 5-year lease is only 400. It's a difference. It's £420 a month in your payment. Okay. So if brand Y for hair removal is 5 times faster, but treats all skin types and can be used for that and other applications, £420 becomes insignificant because it's your hourly revenue. And I think that what you maybe touched a bit on that earlier. If you've got a machine that's going to take, a full legs 2 hours. You've tied up that machine for 2 hours, and a treatment you maybe only charge £100 or £200 for.
If you're lucky now, stay competitive.
Whereas if you can do that in 15 minutes, now you're much more competitive.
Absolutely, And with something like Clarity 2, we've got all of the skin rejuve options that just expands your treatment.
And you can charge more for skin rejuvenation.
Absolutely,
So understand your return on investment. So those who don't understand leasing, then it's a monthly rental that is completely tax deductible. So if this my rental may be a £1,000, £2,000 a month, it's all completely, you can write it off against tax. So I'll often say, well, this machine is costing me, £1,000 a month, say for instance, okay, and I can make so much money. But if I pay £1,500 a month, I can make 10 times the money. So think about is your return in investment and not the price of the machine. Good quality systems are going to cost you more. Okay, those systems that are good quality with extended applications, of course, are going to cost you more. So I get people often say to me, well, I can buy a diode laser at £30,000, but Clarity 2 is twice, 2.5 times the price of it. Okay, but your return on investment's 10 times greater. Just the return on investment that's important.
And the reliability and all the other things we talked about. Yeah.
Yeah.
It can be scary though, can't it, when you see
Yeah.
those figures, and that can put a lot of people off, especially if they're taking the jump into this type of level of aesthetic equipment, and they'd want to justify why. But I think when it comes to this, you have to trust yourself as well, that it is what you need for your clinic.
Yeah, you have to be. Yeah, you've got to be what you want for. Absolutely understand.
And if you believe in it, you promote it, you push it, you grow it.
Yeah.
Everyone has to start somewhere.
Yeah.
And if you don't take that first leap, you might never know.
Forgot about technology. Look at investment and something. Okay, well,
if I did that, I'd probably talk myself out of things, if I'm honest.
But if you say here's an investment, you can pay £1,000, okay?
Yeah.
But you're going to get, I don't know, £3,000 a month.
Yeah.
But if you pay £1,500, I can guarantee you 10 grand.
What are you going to do?
Every time you'd go for the 10,000. So I think it's this understanding return. So if your salesperson dealing with you should be able to talk to you about return on investment. Otherwise, speak to the finance company. But that's important, okay? Okay. I'm going to change this slide, okay? Because this was a slide which is why did I decide to partner with Lutronic, okay? And there's lots of things I love about Lutronic, and people can read this slide. But what I'd rather do is hand over to you, and we've had some questions already, and talk to you about, so why did you, so for instance, first of all, maybe start by telling us your journey.
So I've been using energy devices for probably 20 years.
Let me stop 1 sec. Stop you.
Yeah, I'm not old enough. I know.
No. Let me say what I want to say. These are the contact details. You can screenshot this, but if you want to contact my, okay.
A few questions popping up.
But what I want to be able to do is stop sharing so you can see us. Yeah.
Yes, let's do that.
So I must be able to stop sharing. Okay.
We're rubbish on here, aren't we?
Okay.
Stop presenting. Oh.
Okay, so now we can see you can see us, guys. Okay. So we're going to go over to some questions, and sorry I interrupted you. Tell us about your journey.
Tell us about the journey. It's been a journey. It's been a long journey, and one that I think I've grown into, if I'm being honest. I sort of in that enviable position where I was able to be using devices for 20 years. But things have really accelerated and things have progressed. And I think the more knowledge you gain, the more you want. And that's one of my driving forces. Actually, is the quest for knowledge. And always being able to do in my mind what I want to do with the technology that I have and what my clients are pushing me for and asking me for.
And when did you first start hair removal? Can you remember your first machine?
It was some crazy IPL back in the day. I can't even remember. It was from a company that no one had heard of. They didn't have a lot of money, and I was only just starting out, and that I was never able to get the big boy kit. I'd call it the big boy kit, and that's how I met you, was progressing. And I did actually back in the day have an IPL combined with an ND-YAG back in the day.
Oh, okay.
An Italian built machine. It was a solid bit of kit, and I think it's the company is still going now, and that was my first kind of like next level kit that I'd upgraded the little rubbish IPL that didn't really get me far, but I learned on it.
Expensive IPL.
And then I jumped in
deep end.
The deep end. Yes.
With IPL.
That's where I met you. Yeah.
IPL combined with
the Resurfix. An Erbium. Yeah. Because that's when I'd had a few years and I'd built the business and grown my knowledge. And I was like, right, I've done one a serious medical grade. And then that's where we were. And then here I am with my Clarity 2. But if I hadn't done that journey, I might not have got here.
I guess then, so at least the next question is, which is before we go on to the main question, is why did you choose clarity too, because you've got great knowledge, and you know, people, I've known you for years.
Yeah,
And I'd like to think you trust me.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I do. Yeah,
And I
yeah,
enjoy working with you. But
yeah,
you know, you can, at that sort of price, you
yeah,
can buy anything.
yeah,
Okay?
absolutely.
So
Yeah.
why clarity?
Because it was the technology. And I do trust your judgment. You say, look, that works. Just listen to me. You always give me a reason why. You don't give me sales talk. You tell
Yeah.
me why. And I think because you've never actually set me in the wrong direction ever anyway, that I had no reason to not listen to you. Of course not. And someone of your, you know, your expertise is one of the only people that I trust in the industry. You know, if I ring you and say, what the hell is this? You're saying, nah, don't touch that. You know, then I'm out. It is. That's because you're at the position where you're someone that can build a laser from the inside out. You know, you're not here to sell to me. And I was also, the business had grown, and I was ready to actually get the level of laser that I felt I needed to get to with my knowledge. You know, I felt I was doing myself probably not so much as I needed to within my business. So I thought, right, where can I go? And there was no other option really in the end. I looked at other options, but I came back to clarity. It's really funny because Louise said to me the other day, we was chatting and we was talking to another customer, and she said, you're the hardest sell I've ever done. So I'm actually really proud of that one of the other one of your sales team said I'm the hardest sell she's ever done. So sorry, Louise.
There was another question come in, is out of all the applications, and we've run through some of the we talked about hair removal,
Yep.
general skin rejuvenation, pigmentation, vascular lesions, acne. We got some other stuff I know we work, and we didn't talk about ideas for grey hair, but we'll keep that for another podcast.
I'm having some great results for that.
I know we're getting some great.
Really,
Look at that, because we get some great results on grey hair.
Yeah.
Okay, that's something for a different one. Okay.
Yeah.
But I guess sort of all the applications, what you do most of is one part of the question, and the second one is, I guess, which a lot of people want to know, is what is the most profitable? What's your biggest, you know, if you look at profitability of it, what,
you know, if you'd have asked me before Clarity 2, I'd have always said skin rejuvenation, because our hair removal was so limited. But now hair removal is equally as busy as our skin rejuvenation. And we're seeing such a wider variety of clients, and they're pushing me more because they're expecting more, and we're able to deliver actually. So it's a hard one, because we've always been quite consistently more skin than hair, but hair's definitely now.
So you think your hair's improved because the reputation about you got faster,
and it's faster,
you get better results.
Absolutely. And I think we're promoting it more because we're so confident in that device as well. I think when you change your marketing and you change how you direct your business, I think as the salon director, I'm directing it more, pushing it that way as well, actually.
And I guess one of the things you touched on it earlier, and we sort of get over it. You said that you're getting results in as quick as 3 treatments, which
the very first one,
which I know that if you get the growth cycle right, that's absolutely achievable.
Yeah, I've seen it with my own eyes, and consistently across my client base.
And why do you think that a lot of people will be saying, oh, that's not achievable? And I think, I know if you get the right equipment, you can do that. So what do you think makes a difference that allows you to get much?
I think it's the accuracy of the device. It's so accurate, you know, and when you learn your settings, and there is a lot of settings to learn, but Samantha, our trainer, is brilliant at actually, you know, showing you actually how to work with that device, because it can be overwhelming. You stay with those parameters, and as a beginner, and you can't go wrong. If you're experienced, you can see where you can push things as well. And it's the accuracy, I think, the power. You don't need that amount of power that the device can deliver.
The pulse duration.
You don't. Yes, right. You can change everything. Whereas before, I think some systems were and still can be a little bit limited.
I think Sam's online tonight, so we can say hello to Sam. Yeah?
Oh, great! She'd be proud of me, bigging her up.
I guess then, so profitability you touched on as well, and then for you individually, what's your favorite treatment?
Do you know, I love hair removal. I just love it because it's just it's like driving a fast car. You're like, come on, and you can just run that laser, and it's really enjoyable. But I really enjoy skin and the rejuvenation aspect, and working with that micro millisecond pulse width. You've turned us off.
I've lost you for some reason. I hope you can still see us.
Where have you gone? Someone might have to buzz in and say, tell us what to do.
Oh,
There you
sorry,
go.
guys. I
We're there.
clipped someone
I
on the
bet they
screen.
saw us randomly staring at the screen. So I really enjoy, you know, it's the vascular side of it actually, because it's so much more advanced than anything else I was
think
doing.
vascular is
It's a brilliant vascular laser in itself as a standalone.
It's interesting because obviously
I know we're talking about hair removal, but let's go back to where you
so-
make
well,
money, and
actually-
you do make money doing vascular
Yeah,
treatments.
actually at electronic, we've also got the Derma V, which is a vascular machine, like and so I was often, you know, told, well, okay, when I first got involved, this, oh yeah, but you want to use the Derma V, and I kept not getting great, you know, no one saying negative, but no one really pushing the clarity. Then I started using it and realized, wow, this is a really impressive vascular laser.
Yeah.
If you look at the power of it, it's a very powerful Nd:YAG.
Yeah.
And as I was saying earlier,
you can really tweak your settings.
Those who get the chance to go on our YouTube, we get a brilliant video there, which was done with Claire up in Scotland, Claire Hargreaves. With big, really
with her Nd:YAG.
the veins, just wow, amazing results.
And name another device that can actually do that.
There's not many machines that
with that power
will have that power to be able to confidently treat you know, a complex leg vein.
And I wasn't never able to do that before.
And I guess there was a question about, well, question coming on how successful is it on the like finer blonde hair?
It's your trick. Are we introducing that next time?
No, we'll introduce that next time.
We'll introduce that next time. And the finer, slightly with the hairs with slight colour with the 1 millisecond. I kind of, on all facial hair now, I kind of opt for a 1 millisecond, and as a first.
For those who are new here, then most lasers, a lot of lasers only have a fixed 3 millisecond Alexandrite laser, but with the Nd:YAG and the Alexandrite with the electronic device, you can get a 1 millisecond pulse. So that's like, you know, 300% reduction on 3. It makes it a very powerful short.
And we're going to put our neck on the line on another webinar and actually discuss how we're treating grey hair with this.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
We are.
I know that we're going to get samples. There was a scientist who said, "Oh, that's rubbish, it'll never work." But
this device
they just don't know what we're doing.
No,
which is good. So that's something for the future, like I guess other applications. I guess other applications then is someone asked about acne. Are you treating acne?
I am with the micromillisecond pulse, and I'm using my Ultra as well, because obviously we have the two devices in the clinic.
So I guess we got time for a few more. If there's any more questions. There was a question that what do you see as trending at the moment? Where do you see the future of, you know, what's coming up next exciting in aesthetics?
I think skin is just huge. I know obviously we focused on hair removal in this webinar, but to have a device that is so versatile yet like gold standard from anything else that I've used, I have to pinch myself that I get the results that I do. Do you know what I mean? And I think every client that I consult for wants improved texture. They want pore size reduced. They just want better clarity, to excuse this use of the word, but they just want that glowing skin. And secondly, I think hair restoration is going to be moving forward faster.
Tell us a bit about
we've been playing around with the Ultra, obviously, because we can't use our clarity because I'm not going to put an Nd:YAG or an Alexandrite through the scalp, but we have been using the Ultra just to sort of touch on where we are in the clinic with a lot of combination work, as you know, multiple wavelengths, and on the scalp now for some great success. Using it through the scalp to infuse the actives and the ampules.
I know that I was in the wrong place at the wrong time a couple of weeks ago. They said, Kevin, we're going to do a hair restoration treatment, and I said I didn't know I was going bald. I thought I was too tall that people could see it.
It doesn't hurt though, does it? Just touching on that.
If
anyone's looking at those sort of devices,
it was pleasant. It was.
There's a massive market now
I think
for treatments that work, and with the delivery system that electronic.
We'll actually touch on that next time, because it comes down to return on investment, because I know people will pay a fortune for hair restoration.
So I think that's the big one to watch.
Maybe touch on Ultra next time. So going back to summarize, and we'll talk a little bit, because I know this is a hair removal one today, is an question came out then, you know, how does it compare, to say, how does this technology compare? And I thought I'd covered it compared to, say, a diode.
It's definitely faster, and I have the ability to do all skin colors, all skin types, to the finest hair, to the thickest, coarsest, blackest hair. There's not, I don't know another wavelength or device that allows me to do that.
Yeah, so I think you're right, and I think the problem, and I hopefully I'd covered it with diodes, is that I'm a fan of them. You can get, and people.
I think things have moved on, haven't they?
I think technology's involved. I think
technology's moving again.
I think Alexander's and NDAGs have improved.
Okay. Oh yeah,
Improved the cooling of them, improved the pulse.
Because I think if we'd have spoken a few years ago, you'd have said no.
Yeah, I think they were limited. I think things have moved on. So I think there's no other questions coming in. So thank you for tonight's session. I hope you all enjoyed it. Thank you very much for coming in. You're welcome. I know we're planning to do a few of these, so hopefully we'll see you.
Spill some more secrets.
Yeah, we'll hopefully see you next time, and we're going to be talking about some different things. But it would be really good to talk about grey hair.
Yeah.
But then this talk then more than hair. We'll talk about hair restoration.
I have a little method to talk to you about with the hair removal and seeing results, and run that past you. So again,
let's do that next time.
We'll run that next time.
We'll
I have some ideas for you to throw at you, challenge you on.
But let's talk about, we'll talk more than hair. We'll talk hair, and we'll talk hair restoration.
Yeah, we will. Yeah,
and it'll lead you on to
technologies again.
Lead you on to ultra, which I know you love to talk about. Okay, I know you get great results. So thank you all very much. We will leave it there now. I'm going to leave the meeting, and thank you all for listening.